Happy holidays, everyone. Welcome to episode 122 of Dome Theory. I am Nate Spurlin. That is Isaiah Nins. Don't forget to subscribe to this podcast and check out all the CLNS content before we get to talking about NFL, basketball, and then also some MLB free agency. We do have an ad to pay our bills, so let's get through that first. Score early this NFL season with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with winning any $5 moneyline bet. That's $150 if your team wins. If you have been thinking about joining FanDuel, there's no better time to get in on the action. This app is so easy to use. There's a wide range of betting options, including spreads, player props, over-unders, and more. So visit fanduel.com/Boston and kick off the NFL season. FanDuel, official partner of the NFL. You must be over 21 and present in Massachusetts. Hope is here. First online real money wager only. $5 pregame money line wager required. First online real money wager only. $10 first deposit required. Bonus is issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Visit gamblinghelpline.ma.org or call 800-327-5050 for 24/7 support. Play it smart from the start. GameSenseMA.com or call 1-800-GAM-1234. All right, now that the bills are paid, let's get to some football. We are recording this on Monday, December 18th. So that being said, we know that we have the Eagles and the Seahawks getting ready to kick off right about let's call it an hour from now from this recording. Real quickly, I'm gonna outline the playoff race that we have going on right now, and then we'll get into some topics. So that being said, in the AFC, we only have one team that has clinched a playoff spot, and that is the Ravens at 11-3. And then you have the Dolphins in the 2 seed, the Chiefs in the 3 seed, the Jaguars in the 4 seed, Browns, Bengals, and then the Colts 5 through 7. And then on the outside looking in, we have the Texans, the Bills, the Steelers, and the Broncos. And in the NFC, we have the 49ers at 11-3, 1st seed, clinching a playoff spot as well. The Eagles have also clinched a playoff spot at 10-3, excuse me. They're getting ready to play the Seahawks right now. That's why their win-loss record is a little off compared to everybody else's. Lions 10-4, Buccaneers 7-7. Cowboys have also clinched a playoff spot 10-4 as well, trailing the Eagles, although it's looking kind of weird because they just lost to the Bills yesterday. And then we have the Vikings and Rams at 7-7. Outside looking in, we have the Saints, Seahawks, who are getting ready to play the Eagles, as I just mentioned before, Falcons, and Packers. That being said, Isaiah, do you think that this playoff race is going to stay packed where it is, or which teams do you think are going to get in from the outside?
Yeah, so I think right now ESPN had the odds for to get those last three spots. So they think that in the AFC it's going to be the Ravens are going to get a spot, the Chiefs are going to get a spot, the Dolphins are going to get a spot. Then for the division, there's a higher chance that the Jags make it than the Texans they have right now. And then after the Jags, I think it goes Colts, Texans, Bengals, something like that. I could definitely see the Texans going through unless Joe Flacco has one of those weeks this week, like he just had the last two. Came back from 3 picks and won a game, then won yesterday. He's really been putting it together. But they play the Browns, they play the Titans, they play the Colts. So it's going to be a real, division heavy matchup these last 3 weeks, 2 out of 3. Um, the Jags, we know Trevor Lawrence is playing with something. He's not all there right now, and he got annihilated last night. It was ugly for a majority of the game. So if you were asking me now, I would put the Texans above the Jags to finish that out. As for the those bubble spots, I think the Jags would secure one of those there. Um, Depending on how the Browns go against the Texans, I would have the Browns there as well. And then for that final spot, there's so many teams in the hunt right now. There's the Bills, there's the Broncos, there's the Raiders. I'm putting the Bills because I think that the Bills can do it. After watching that performance versus the Cowboys last night, I've got them in there. It's just so funny how Josh Allen's name began the season, and it's he makes too many individual mistakes. He can't put it together, and now you look, and it's like, oh, the Bills are who we believe they should have been. So I have those teams in there. Where do you disagree?
I like the Bills in there as well. I think the Texans actually, I think it's very heavily dependent on if CJ Stroud is able to recover from that concussion or not. But I think the Texans should be able to clinch what we're looking at right now as the 4 spot and the AFC South. I think the Jaguars are going to get in as well. So that will be two wild cards so far, the Bills and the Jaguars. Um, lastly, I mean, and here's the thing, and here's why it's so fascinating this year. The Steelers have a backup quarterback. The Colts have a backup quarterback, the Bengals have a backup quarterback, and the Browns have a backup quarterback. So all these teams are playing with backup quarterbacks. So, and I think I can let me just say it off top. The Steelers eliminated. I don't believe in Mason Rudolph, Mitchell Trubisky. Don't believe in them either. Like it's just eliminated. Love Tomlin. The hot seat conversation is stupid to me. Honestly, he's like top. He's definitely a top five coach in the league, probably top three coach in the league. So I don't really understand where that's coming from. But that being said, eliminating the Steelers. So right now I'm left with Broncos, Colts, Browns, and Bengals. That being said, I think I'm going to have to go with the Browns just because they have the best defense. I am tempted to go with the Bengals as well because despite them not having Joe Burrow, they still have like all those weapons around them and they also have a good defense. So I wouldn't be surprised to see them get in. But right now, if I had to put money on it, I'd probably say the Browns along with the Texans and the Bills.
Do you believe more in elite Joe Flacco or in Jake Browning, who said you should have never fucking dropped me, waved me? What did he say? One of those things to the camera after they won this week.
I don't believe in either. I just believe in the pieces around them. And I think that the Browns defense, excuse me, I think that that defense is, but besides, if we're talking about it in terms of units, you have the Browns offense, you have the Browns defense, you have the Bengals offense, and you have the Bengals defense. Out of those four units, the Browns defense has the most trust from me. And because of that, I'm putting them into the playoffs on the AFC side.
Okay.
Moving on, once again, we have the 49ers. We have the 49ers have clinched a playoff spot. The Eagles have clinched a playoff spot. And the Cowboys have clinched a playoff spot. Real quick, before we get to predicting these playoffs, how bad of a loss was it that the Cowboys took yesterday against the Bills?
It was ugly, but they had those reports that there's sickness going around. Um, I don't think if this game and the 49ers game takes Dak out of an MVP race, I feel like people don't even care. Because besides those games, and I know they're now 10-4. Besides those two really bad performances, he's played incredibly this season. So I it hurts obviously, especially as you're trying to go after a division title, even as you've secured playoffs. You want that home field. Even as it hurts, they're still 10-4. The teams around them are 7-7. Either direction. You look at the 4 seed, they're 7-7. The Bucks. You look at who's the 6 seed right now, it's the Vikings. You look at who's the 7, it's the Rams. After them, it's the Saints. These are all 7-7. So they're clearly ahead of that fray. What's really it's going to come down to is can they beat the Eagles again? Can they beat the 49ers for the first time when
No,
it comes down to the playoffs? I don't know. Well, we don't know. We
no.
don't.
The
It's the
answer is
playoffs.
no.
It's the playoffs. And the Lions are worth believing in, but we don't even know if they've got their division locked up yet. They play the Vikings twice over the next 3 games. The Vikings quarterback issues have been atrocious. Nick Mullins looks lost on every single play, but they're still 7-7. Their defense is all right, and you just hope Chandler can put something together. You still got Justin Jefferson. You still got Hawkinson. Addison is blown up as a rookie. I think he has the most touchdowns of all rookies so far. I think he's at 9 or 10 this season. So Lions aren't locked up yet. But as the Cowboys, even with this loss, you got to feel good about this season, and you should at present still feel good about going into the playoffs with this team.
I don't see it. I
Okay.
I think they're a really talented team, but when you get to the Eagles, when you get to the 49ers, even when you get to the Lions, it's about who's more physical. And in every single
That's
one of
been the
those
Cowboys.
matchups,
That's
the
been the
40,
Cowboys.
the 40, first of all, the 49ers just manhandled the Cowboys. The Eagles, we saw them do it in the first game. The second game, not so much, but I kind of chalked that up to like a wash. Like the Eagles had to experience some adversity somewhere. Um, and overall, like they're a
It
team.
can't be chalked up to the Cowboys are a physical team that's great on offense.
If
I
they're
think
such a
they have the
physical
most
team,
points.
how come they allowed
Most
the Bills to just run it down their throats the whole game?
everybody loses.
Josh
Everybody
Allen
loses.
only had 15 pass attempts, and they still lost.
Yeah, Cook had a career game, but you know what I'm saying. Everybody loses.
You don't
Everybody
lose. You
loses.
don't lose
The
when
49ers
you
have
don't.
three losses this
You're
season.
not supposed to lose when the quarterback on the other side is arguably a top five player and he only completed 7 passes. You're not supposed to lose that game.
Okay, I'm just saying everybody loses, and the Cowboys have performed this season. And it's their performance over the season is greater than their performance in this game and the 49ers game. It's damaging because the Bills are a team that's looking, they could potentially win their division, so it's a serious team. And the 49ers are going to be the one seed probably in the NFC going into the playoffs. So it doesn't look good, but as a Cowboys fan, you got to have a lot of hope going into the playoffs this year. More so than maybe even 2 years ago when they finished that season blowing out the Eagles. They put up 50, and then they lost to the 49ers in the playoffs. I think that the Cowboys are thinking law of averages. We just can't lose to the 49ers every single season in the playoffs. So if you're a Cowboys fan, there's no way one game makes you think the season's over. No way.
Cowboys
You're thinking
Cowboys
the
fans are
season
like
is a long way to go.
Cowboys fans are like Knicks fans. Like they always believe they have a chance to win. It doesn't even matter. So that doesn't even mean anything to me. Additionally,
Right?
what happened last year to the Cowboys? Weren't they a really good team and then they flop in the playoffs? And then what happened 2 years ago? What happened 3 years ago?
They've
And
flopped a lot, but they weren't the number one offense. I'll tell you that. They were not the number one offense.
regardless of the situation. The Cowboy. Remember when we
You brought the
were? It was
situation out. Where
it was
you
it was
going
it
with
was me. It was it was me, you, Bobby, and Taylor on an episode of Dorm Theory when we were talking about the over unders for the NBA, and we all had a hard time dealing with the concept of the Warriors not being good this year, right? I think the Cowboys are the reverse Warriors. Like I just have a hard time believing that they're gonna actually be serious in the playoffs this year. And for that
That's
reason, I just
fair.
can't take them seriously.
That's fair, but that's because the 49ers have just had their number. And playing a
Because they're
second
more
time
physical.
against them this sure, playing again the 49ers are the best team. But it's not like the Cowboys are a bad team or just a good team. The Cowboys have been great this year. It's just can they beat them in the playoffs? But our conversation isn't about can they beat that team in the playoffs. It's how much did that game yesterday change what you think? And for me, not much. It's that yeah, if their defense isn't firing on all cylinders, it's going to be tough for their offense. But that's true for every team. It's just the Cowboys' defense have been like premier ball hawks. They've been great on the line, and they've helped that offense get to number one this season. And the offense has delivered in most games that they've played this season. So if I'm a Cowboys fan, I think that they've got a good shot. You finally got Dak not having rivaling touchdown and interception numbers. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So I don't think that season or that game rather alters their season, defines their season. They're going to play again next week. They're going to have another opportunity to show that week and the 49ers week. They're going to be tough games, but we're going to push through.
Before we move on to the actual topic of ranking the NFC, I just want to say that the Cowboys have ball hawks on the other side on the defense. That is true, but it doesn't matter if the ball is just going to be run down their throats every single time. That being said,
Sure.
we have the 49ers, we have the Eagles, we have the Lions, the Buccaneers, Cowboys, and Vikings and Rams, 1 through 7. And then we have the Saints, Seahawks, Falcons, and Packers on the outside looking in. Which teams do you think make it into the NFC tournament?
Tournament.
Hey, man, trying something new.
Playoffs?
Same thing.
Uh, no one has no one's ever in history said the NFL tournament. That's interesting
Well,
if
well,
someone did frame it that way.
congratulations. Well, congratulations on being a part of history. I'm
Okay,
so happy
thank you.
to have you included on this. Like, I wouldn't
I
want anyone else to be included with this.
you're right. I wouldn't rather be anywhere else. So I think that the Saints are in there. They're 7-7 right now. They're playing the Bucks. They've got the Falcons. They've got the Rams. Now the Rams are right there currently in the wild card spot at the 7 with 7-7. So this game next week is going to be big, and it's in LA. So it's going to be on the defense again. That Saints defense, which has been all right this year. You've seen a lot of flashes of them being a great defense, and then a lot of flashes of them being whatever. But the real issue is Derek Carr at
Yes.
the end of it. And it's, can that guy just not make the worst mistakes you've ever seen? And the answer is probably not. But I think that the team is good enough around him to at least get them into one of those spots. So I would take the Rams out there. Now, the Vikings, like I said, have a chance to really shut down the Lions. They play them twice in the last 3 games. I think the Vikings can win at least one of those games. They suck on offense. And yet, before Jake Browning pulled that in the fourth quarter, they had gone like 20, 25, I don't know, possessions without giving up a touchdown, something like that. It was something over 3 games. Their defense was really putting it together. It's just their offense is so bad that they can't stay on the field. So score early for them. But I think the Vikings can take at least one of those. I think that they can keep their spot around. And it's so funny thing of the what if. I know you hate Kirk Cousins, but when you look at this Vikings team, don't you think if they had Kirk Cousins, I mean, they'd have 10 wins by now. They'd be right in that top 4 standings right now if they had Kirk Cousins.
Who was it you said earlier that can't avoid making the bad play? Was it
Derek
Derek
Carr.
Carr?
Yeah.
Kirk Cousins is also in that category. That doesn't move me.
Kirk
It
Cousins
genuinely
had them on
doesn't
a
move
winning
me.
streak. Kirk Cousins had on a winning streak, and
Hey
then his
man.
leg blew out.
I mean, it's all fun and games to do that during the regular season, early regular season when games they all matter, but not matter as much. I mean, playoffs is a whole different beast, or even well, their playoffs really starts now because they're in the playoff race. Like the playoffs is just a whole different beast. That being said, Cowboys have already clinched the spot.
If
I don't believe.
hold on,
Go
if
ahead.
the Vikings had Kirk Cousins,
Mhm.
I don't think they'd have several more wins by now.
Maybe like
Josh Dobbs had a
one.
four. He had a 4 interception game. They barely lost. Telling me Kirk Cousins couldn't have done better than that?
All that tells me is that Kirk Cousins was going to have 5 interceptions that game.
No, it doesn't. Anyway, so that AFC South or the NFC South rather, the Saints are getting in, but that also is interesting for the Buccaneers who have to play the Saints, who are 7-7, right there in that spot, and it's really ugly. It reminds me of that 7-9, seven and
The
nine
Rams and the Seahawks.
Seahawks, the Seahawks team
Yeah.
that made it in. Oh my god, I couldn't believe it.
Pretty sure they won a playoff
That's
game
what they're
though.
like right now. Say it again.
Pretty sure they won a playoff game. That Seahawks team. I
Was
think that's
that
the
beast
team.
mode?
Yeah, that was the team that the Beastquake happened on.
Um, so yeah, that's interesting. The Seahawks, I mean, you want Geno Smith to win. You just want him to win because you're like this guy, his quote, right? But you really did think he can't come back from this, and it seems like he can put together a pretty competent offense, but not all the time. So I just don't believe in them enough. The Falcons, I few people wish more than me that they could just win these games. They blow themselves. They lose in ways unimaginable. There's points in the games where you're like the Falcons be able to win this game, and the Falcons figure out a calculation to surprise you with a loss. I don't know how they do it, but I just can't see them getting in at this point. The Packers are interesting because Jordan Love has kind of put it together this season, but not really at the same time. I don't believe in them. I think that the teams that are in here will be in here, minus the Buccaneers or the Rams, and I think the Saints fill in there.
I think the Rams stay, honestly. Puka Nakua
Do
has
you think
been a
they beat the
development for
Saints this
them.
year or this week?
I would say so. They have the better defense. They have the more competent quarterback. They have uh Cooper Cup. They have I forget who their tight end is, but they I know they have Puka Nakua too. I'm pretty sure he suffered an injury. I'm not sure on that. I'll have to check that. But I overall like it's Aaron Donald. Like I believe in the Rams. Despite what Bobby says in the chat about how the Rams have been trash ever since the Super Bowl, which is kind of true. This season they've been playing mediocre, and mediocre is enough to get into the playoffs. So I am inclined to agree with you about the Rams getting staying in. The Buccaneers, I don't see them
No,
staying in their spot.
I said the Rams might be out. We
Oh,
disagree
well,
on
okay.
that.
Well, we disagree on that. I was so excited to agree with you that the Buccaneers weren't going to get in because I don't like Baker Mayfield either. So
Sure.
that being said, I was rushing. So that being said, I think the Saints are probably going to get in. I think the Rams are going to stay. The Vikings are interesting. I think if possible, maybe the Seahawks because I do like Geno Smith. I like Tyler Lockett. I like DK Metcalf. The defense is okay. It's good. It's not Legion of Boom days, but it's still serviceable. I can see the Seahawks getting in over the Vikings, but then at the same time, the Lions, the way that they coach and they call plays and the way that they always go for it on fourth down, I could see them just like choking the division away and being a wild card and the Vikings making the playoffs as the NFC North division leader. So I guess we'll just have to wait
I've
and
got two
see.
questions for you.
Yes,
I
go
got two
ahead.
questions for you. Does the Rams giving up 43 to the Cowboys mean anything to you?
No,
Okay.
they're a
Nothing.
bad team, mediocre team.
You
It
said their
happens.
defense. You said they had the defense. They gave
They have
43 to
good
the Cowboys.
defense. I mean, they have good defense, but at the same time, if your offense is putting you out there
Defense,
every
man.
time,
Aaron
like we're
Donald got
seeing
the
the
whole
Jets give
defense.
up 30 points every game now because the offense just doesn't do anything.
Sure. Okay. You won't concede on that. Other point. For you to get Geno into the playoffs, that would mean they'd have to win tonight. Are they going to win tonight?
Yes.
Oh, tell me how they're going to beat the Eagles tonight because Jalen Hurts is playing.
Um, DK Metcalf is going to threaten everybody on the Eagles defense, and they're going to be scared and just let him score.
That's an interesting philosophy. I
And
don't know that that's
he's going to do it
the
in sign
game
language.
plan.
And he's going to do it in sign language. Yes.
Mm,
Hmm.
okay.
Hmm.
Is Pete Carroll putting that defense? Is that what they're running in practice these days? Just ASL?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Cowboys can't do it. They put up 40 on the Rams. Oh, no, the Rams defense is good.
All right. Who makes the conference games? In the NFC, I have the Eagles versus the 49ers, and in the AFC, I have the Ravens versus the Dolphins.
It depends on how the Lions play against the Vikings, man. I'm telling if the Vikings win at least one against the Lions, take them out of everything. If the Vikings pull it off against this team with Nick Mullins at quarterback, pull them out. Pause. It's over. I
So
can't
so
believe in that team.
so what you're saying is if the Vikings win their next game, in the NFC championship.
No. I'm saying Lions won't be. The
Oh,
49ers will be.
man, nobody's
But
taking the Lions seriously. Come on. Let's talk real
They're the
sports, man.
division. They got 10 wins. They got 10.
Okay.
How do you not? What are we supposed to not mention? They got
What I
10
saw
wins.
after what I saw on Thanksgiving where they had ample opportunity to come back and win the game and every time they made the stupid play or they called the stupid play, it's not even the player's fault. You know that meme when it's like that one kid and he's like, "This is not players, this is not on you. This is on the coaches." That's how I feel
Mm-hmm.
watching the Lions. And yeah, I just can't take them seriously for that reason.
Golf is serious. We were doing
Relatively so.
we were doing our all black versus all white teams, and Jared Goff's name was in there. He's a serious quarterback. He was
Who is
there
we?
representing the white people.
Who is we?
I didn't put Goff. I said Herbert. That was
But
Dan that
who is
said Goff.
we? I wasn't doing this at all. I was playing Star Wars. I was playing Star Wars: The Last Survivor on PlayStation 5. That's what I was doing.
Then you missed it. The segregation bowl is going to be serious, man. I'm telling you, we're bringing everybody
Anyway,
up.
man, make your
Okay,
picks. Who's in the NFC? Who's in the
49ers,
AFC?
Niners,
Okay.
Dallas Cowboys.
Okay.
That's NFC. AFC, Ravens. Easy.
Ravens who?
Unless the Ravens
Wait. You cut out. You gotta repeat that, sir.
Chiefs.
Okay. Ravens and Chiefs.
Unless the Ravens inevitably lose even more. I just saw Mitchell just went down for the season.
Yeah.
If they lose inevitably more players, then take them out. I don't believe in the Dolphins. I believe in the Jags. I don't believe in the Browns. Maybe the Texans, maybe the NFL script writers put it together and get the Texans in the championship game. Wouldn't that be something?
I want to believe in the Chiefs. There's no bigger fan in the chat of Patrick Mahomes than me.
No.
However, when Patrick Mahomes is putting it right where it's supposed to be on Kadarius Toney's hands, and then the ball just like flips up in the air, and then he hits it up, and then the defender catches it, and it turns into an interception. You can't. There's nothing you could do.
FanDuel is the exclusive wagering partner of the CLNS Media Network. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 moneyline bet. FanDuel, official partner of the NFL.
Anyway, let's move on to the NBA. Let's do a quick hitter with the NBA real quick. Draymond Green suspended indefinitely after hitting Yusuf Nurkic. He has started a counseling process today, and that guarantees he's going to be out for at least 3 weeks. What do you think about the whole situation? Did the
How many
NFL
games is in
NBA
three
go too
weeks?
far?
How many games are
I'm
in 3 weeks?
uh let's say they play 3 games a week. Let's say 9.
Okay. Can I run something down with you?
Yes, you can.
Okay. I understand the context, and I actually really want him to be suspended for a while, but because he's insane, he makes the NBA just look bad. He's crazy. But 9 games. So tell me if you think that these deserve more or less than 9 games.
Okay.
Dennis Rodman headbutts a referee after getting ejected. 6 games. Did he deserve more than Draymond or less?
More.
Okay. J.R. Smith, you remember the fight with Nate Robinson at the Garden
I don't.
when they tumble into do your homework, son. So they tumble in, they're fighting on the court. J.R. Smith got 7 games for fighting Nate Robinson on the court. Does he deserve more or less games than J.R. Smith?
If we're comparing it to what Draymond Green has done, yes.
He deserves more.
Yes.
Kyrie got 8 games for posting a link to an Amazon movie. More or less.
No.
He doesn't deserve more games than that.
No.
You want Kyrie to have more games?
What are you talking about?
Kyrie deserves games. You think he deserved more games than Draymond would? I think
No.
it's 9.
No.
Oh, okay. Okay.
You gotta clean your ears, old man.
I'm working on it.
Him
Rodman,
working on it is crazy. Anyway.
cameraman in the groin, courtside, 11 games.
Yeah,
Draymond deserved more
that
or less.
that's more. Rodman
Okay.
deserves more.
The Malice in the Palace when Steven Jackson knocked that fan out 30 games.
That's deserving, yes. Even though the
Gilbert
fan did start
Arenas
it.
Arenas brings weapons into his locker room and has a Mexican standoff with Javaris Crittenden, 50 games.
Deserved.
No, does Draymond deserve more or less than that?
Oh, less.
Oh, come on. I think you might be more than that. All right. My point of view is suspend this man. No counseling is gonna work. There's not when he comes back, he's gonna do it again, so it doesn't even matter. But just take him out for a little bit. It's not like the Warriors are gonna miss him. They got him and they're still ass. You take him out, it's not gonna affect their season at all. They're probably hoping for a pick now. Doesn't even matter. But take him out, because as soon as he plays a European again, the fire will light up in his eyes. He's going right for it. He's gonna pull out a new tech. He pulled out a Tekken move in this last one. He might go Mortal Kombat the next game he's back. But we gotta get him out of here. I don't know what it is. I can't give you a number. It would be less than Steven Jackson for knocking out that fan. That was 30 games. It'll be less than Melo got in that fight with the Knicks. That was 15 games. I think 9 to 15 games is a good number.
I think when you suspend someone indefinitely, when you have I just think there's a lack of consistency, honestly. Like when you're suspending Draymond Green indefinitely, but you haven't done anything to Josh Giddey yet. That doesn't make sense to me. Like it's either nothing
There's
is
no
good, it's
charges. What are
but it's
they?
but
What are
it's
they
but
supposed to
it's
do?
either
We watched him try and take Nurkic out in that game.
but it's
We watched him choke
either
out
you're
Gobert.
going to be consistent and you're going to be like you guys have a obligation to protect the logo, the NBA logo, in this case, Jerry West. You guys have an obligation to protect that picture of him that we have in our logo, or you're not. And it seems like everybody else is getting that treatment of you have to protect the logo, besides Josh Giddey. And it just doesn't. I just want to see some consistency, and to see him be suspended indefinitely, I think is a little too far. I think, but at the same time, I also think that the reason why they did that is so that he can not be in a rush to come back. The same similar to what they did with John Morant last season, which also was kind of weird. Honestly, I just think that you just set the amount of games and they serve their sentence, and then after that they come back. But indefinitely seemed a little too harsh to me at the time. But still understanding that he's getting counseling, whatever that is going to be. I
No.
guess kind of makes sense, but I don't know. I just don't like
They can't.
indefinitely
They
is just
can't.
such indefinitely is just such an extreme that if Gilbert Arenas doesn't get suspended indefinitely for bringing for doing what he did, or if the Malice in the Palace doesn't suspend people indefinitely, I don't know what should suspend someone indefinitely at that point.
Well, Ron Artest got suspended 86 games, so he'd rather have gotten the indefinite and get back in 20 or something. And Gilbert Arenas got 50, so we don't want those set numbers, but they can't give Draymond a set number because they don't know if that counseling is going to work. So they can't give him 7, and then they're like, nah, he didn't complete this counseling. He skipped all the meetings, smoking weed. It was like we don't know, and we got to suspend him. Get him out of here. He's not playing basketball. That is not There's no finesse in that game. I have no idea what that is. But
It's called trying to get a call, man.
what kind of call?
Yeah, he claimed that Nurkic was pushing him and he was trying to get the call.
We saw that video. Nurkic's hand was barely on this man. Pause. He was barely touching him, and he was moving like Nurkic was dragging him down. He turned around like you hit the R1 plus square on Tekken on him. Like that's crazy.
The fact that you remember the exact anyway. Um, let's move
Practice that
on.
game, man. Do your homework.
Let's move on to our last topic. Let's talk about MLB real quick. I'm just gonna run down what has happened so far in the MLB and free agency, and you react. Shohei Ohtani signs with the Los Angeles Dodgers 10 years, $700 million, $680 million of that is deferred till the end of his contract. Juan Soto is traded to the New York Yankees for Michael King, Johnny Brito, Randy Vasquez, Kyle Higashioka, and prospect Drew Thorpe. The Yankees also get Trent Grisham in that, and Juan Soto has not signed an extension as to this date. Tyler Glasnow is traded to the Dodgers for Ryan Pepiroy. I don't know if I pronounced that correctly. And Johnny DeLuca. The Dodgers also get Manuel Margot. And Tyler Glasnow has signed 5 years, $135 million, including this season. And finally, it looks like Yamamoto is down to the Dodgers, Yankees, and Mets. Isaiah, react.
Glasnow is out of my division. Won't he do it? Shohei, I mean,
What would you do? It's
700 for
crazy.
a DH is out of this world. 700 for a DH because he's not pitching at least this year. We don't know what pitching will look like for him after, but at least this year he's not pitching. 700 million is crazy. Obviously, you wanted him as a Yankee. Never even thought he would go to the Yankees. It always seemed like he was going to be on the West Coast. I said Dodgers from the beginning, even though Bobby said that would be boring or something. I don't know. 700 million is crazy. That's just the end of the day. Does 700 million bring you that title? We don't know. We'll see. Juan Soto, amazing. And was not built to be in bum ass San Diego, Republican state or Republican city, San Diego. It's one of like the only big cities that's Republican. He needed a place where they smoke a hookah on the streets. Man. He can't be doing that near the beach, but keep them people in Baja California kind of thing. He's right where he needs to be, and he said Yankees know who to talk to and what to say to get that extension. They trying to riddle like Wild Hack said to Dino. I think Yankees will solve that riddle and keep him there. He's in the spot to be, and it's biased, but come on now. We all know Juan Soto needs to be playing in front of his people, and I will definitely be there next season. In terms of Yamamoto hasn't been doing the secrecy that Shohei has this off season rather, but it seems to be garnering the same effect in that no one actually knows what's being said. The difference is he's allowing people to know, hey, I'm meeting with these guys, I'm meeting with these guys, I'm meeting with these guys. But no one really knows what he's saying there. Everyone just keeps saying sources telling me he thinks that shit was cool. Like, we have no idea, but hopeful. He's a young dude. He's been killing it in Japan. He's got like 50 wins, maybe even more over the last 3 seasons. Like 200 strikeouts a year, mid one ERA every season over there. Yeah, I'm looking for this guy to pull up. He's been MVP conversation in Japan since he was 20, man. Like, get that guy in pinstripes tomorrow. Make sure Garrett Cole don't pull out some magic and try and opt out. Keep him there. Be like, it's not all on you, Garrett. We got another guy competing for that side in a minute. You know what I'm saying? So yeah.
And the whole Boston audience just sighed as they listened to a Yankees fan be excited about the MLB season. That being said, I think Yamamoto is going to the Dodgers. I mean, like, come on, like,
Oh,
come on. Like,
come
I
on.
mean, honestly, when we first
So you got
heard
no New York loyalty.
when we first heard about it, the second option is going to be the Mets, by the way, because the Yankees traded away their only Japanese player, and he said he wanted to play with a Japanese player. So I don't even understand how the
Get
Yankees are still in
Matsui in
it.
them meetings. We got Matsui
Regardless,
right there.
anyway, this has been episode 122 of Dome Theory. Make sure you check out all the content on CLNS. Subscribe to the podcast. I am your host, Nate Spurlin. That is Isaiah Nins. Make sure you head over to the Old Milk YouTube page and subscribe to the podcast, The Cap. That being said, we are out. Bobby will probably be back at some point. So yeah, thanks for watching.
Matsui, World Series MVP. Get him on them calls. Yamamoto, man. That's it.